Hello, and welcome to Green and Woke. I'm Kimberly Ryans, and I'm coming to you from Houston, Texas. Today we're going to look at ways to live healthy and live green. As always, stay with us to hear great recipes, meet green guests from across the country, and hear great indie music by progressive artists that you won't hear anywhere else. Green and Woke is produced by Build a Better Planet, a nonprofit organization promoting sustainability. Contact us at thirdstrikeradio.com about volunteer opportunities and internships. We work with students nationwide. You can also like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. This year is an election year. Election Day is Tuesday, November 5th. Every state has its own voter registration deadlines. The deadline to register to vote are fast approaching. In fact, some states have started early voting. To check your registration status or to register to vote, go to rockthevote.org. That's rockthevote.org. Your vote is your voice. Be heard. Black history is American history, and we recognize it 365 days a year. Here's a spotlight. So today on Black History 365, we have a very special guest, a man who made history by becoming the second Black mayor of Houston, which is the fourth largest city in America. And after serving the maximum number of terms, the twice-elected mayor is now running to represent the 18th District of Texas in Congress. Please join us in extending a warm welcome to the Honorable Mayor Sylvester Turner.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, welcome, Mayor Turner. We are so honored to have you on the show today. And just a side note, this is truly a small world. Our producer, Soledad Heron, lived in the Kleins Independent School District as a child and later worked for Fulbright and Jaworski. So I understand that you also attended school in Klein ISD and you worked for Fulbright and Jaworski after graduating from Harvard Law School.
That is correct.
Okay.
That was my first job as an associate attorney at Fulbright and Jaworski.
Oh, wow. That's wonderful. Yeah, I had to put that in there for her because, I'm doing the interview, so I had to include her.
Give her my regards.
I will, sir. I will. So let's get started. Tell us a bit about yourself and how you got into politics after being an attorney in private practice.
Well, number one, I grew up in Houston. I'm a native Houstonian.
Great.
And still live in the same neighborhood in which I was born and raised.
Oh, that's great.
And then when I was in high school, I would ride the bus with my mom and my brother. My brother had some mental behavioral health issues, and things got rough. She would take the bus and go to a hospital at the time to get help for my brother, and I would ride with my mom on the bus.
Oh.
And what they would say to my mom is that until he becomes a danger to himself or to somebody else, there was not much that they could do. We didn't have any private health insurance.
Oh.
And so she would, they would send us back to the house. And while sitting on the bus, I just said to myself, hell, it's something to be poor. And if I ever had an opportunity to address that situation, then I would. Fast forward, as I graduated from law school, started working. There was a position on the Harris County Commissioner's Court that became available.
Okay.
And I found out that Commissioner's Court had something to do with mental health funding and decided to run. And I was in my 20s. I ran. I did not win, but it was an excellent learning experience. And then several years down the pipe, a state legislative seat became available. And one of the civic political activists in Acres Home, which is where I grew up, that neighborhood, told me, look, I'm telling people you're running for this seat. And a person of color had never won it. And she just thought that with my background and everything that I could. I ran, and I won, and became the first person of color to represent that district, which is about 6% white.
Oh, wow.
I held that seat for 27 years.
Oh, that's amazing. Gosh, thank you for sharing that with us.
Thanks for asking.
So you served as mayor during the Trump presidency. Now,
Yes.
Donald Trump is a climate change denier.
Right.
And he pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord.
Correct.
So Houston, where we're located here, on the Gulf, has had repeatedly, just storms that severely affected us by climate change, of course. So, like other cities in America, under the climate mayors, it made a commitment to stay on course to fulfill the terms of that Paris Agreement. Yes. Tell us about your role in that and how you put Houston on the track of becoming a green city.
Well, I became mayor in 2016.
Okay.
And 4 months in, we faced the 500-year storm, the Tax-Based flood.
Yeah.
And then after that was Hurricane Harvey. And during my term, we faced 7 federally declared disasters.
Wow, 7.
So I joined the U.S. Conference of Mayors.
Okay.
So the city was already a member, but when I became mayor, I became active. And it was in 2016, the mayor, Garcetti, who was the mayor of L.A., was the head of the U.S. Climate Mayors. And he asked me to be one of his, you could say, like co-chairs or vice chairs of the climate mayors. I agreed.
Okay.
And then he was followed by Mayor Walsh out of Boston, who was the head of the president of the U.S. Climate Mayors. And then when Mayor Walsh was selected by President Biden to be Secretary of Labor, he reached out along with some others and asked me if I would chair the U.S. Climate Mayors.
Oh, wonderful.
And I did. But in the 2016, 2017, we pushed the U.S. Conference of Mayors, the climate mayors, were very much supportive of the Paris Agreement because we recognized these storms were coming with greater intensity.
Yes.
Because the climate was getting warmer.
Mm-hmm.
And we just couldn't be climate deniers.
Right.
Because the people in our cities were being adversely affected. So we moved forward, advocated strongly on behalf of the Paris Agreement, went to the various conferences throughout the globe.
Okay.
Also doing that, I was on a mission in Europe and spoke favorably about the United States and cities. We said that some national diplomacy would step in, even when Trump and then the federal level were not, pushing being a part of the Paris Agreement. Cities were pushing.
Okay.
And we ended up getting about, I would say maybe about 400 cities, red cities as well as blue cities, who stood in support of the Paris Agreement. And then subsequently, the city of Houston, under my leadership, put forth our first ever climate change proposal, action plan. That was on Earth Day 2020. And then in February 2020, we put forth the first ever resilient Houston plan. So we have moved forward to address climate change. 4 pillars, and I'll be done with this. 4 pillars on our climate action plan was energy transition. Houston is, energy capital of the world.
Okay.
But we focus on energy transition. 2 was electrifying our vehicles 50% by 2030. The 3rd was building optimization, becoming more efficient. And the 4th was recycling, building a circular economy. Those are the 4 pillars.
Okay. That's wonderful. Thank you. Wow. That's it's obviously, there's climate change, and I don't see how anybody could be a denier, but okay.
I agree.
So this year is a critical election year because so many important issues are on the line, like women's health and women's productive freedom. So some Texas women with non-viable pregnancies have had to leave the state in order to get medical care. So how will you work to safeguard women's health and reproductive freedom, especially in the wake of extremists calling for total national abortion bans?
Right. And that's the key word, extreme.
Yes.
The state of Texas, like many other states, are engaged in extreme policies that are impacting real people's lives.
Yes.
And especially women. Number one, I adamantly oppose changing or getting rid of Roe versus Wade.
Yes.
That was a 50-year precedent at the Supreme Court level. So what Trump did in stacking the Supreme Court was led directly to the reversal of Roe versus Wade.
Yes.
What I would advocate is that we codify Roe versus Wade into federal law.
Okay.
If people say that they are supportive of women and the right of women to make their decisions and want politics out of the room with a woman and her doctor and her family members, then I think we need to codify Roe versus Wade. So that's number one. And I think we need to take whatever steps we need to take in order to make that, to bring forth that legislation on the federal level. That is one of the reasons why I'm running for the U.S. Congressional District 18 to follow in the footsteps of Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee.
Yeah.
The other thing is as it relates to women, the Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee reauthorized the Violence Against Women Act. I'm very supportive of that.
Okay.
And would move forward on that. But going back to women, abortion, reproductive rights, in some places, they're even trying to criminalize women and their doctors.
Yes.
Women should leave and go to another state where they can receive an abortion. Or if doctors participate, they are trying to criminalize those acts. And it's totally insane.
It is.
Very much extreme, and I'm adamantly opposed to those things.
Okay. Well, thank you. So, speaking of healthcare, Donald Trump has vowed repeatedly to repeal Affordable Care Act, and that is helping so many people, it was also known as Obamacare. That's probably right. He really wants to, repeal it. But he says that he will repeal and replace, but he doesn't have a replacement. He only has a concept of a plan. So why is saving the ACA so important to health and the well-being of Americans, especially those with pre-existing conditions?
Well, the reality is that there are millions of Americans and hundreds of thousands in the 18th Congressional District, millions in the state of Texas, who don't have access to quality health care. And but for the Affordable Care Act,
that's true.
Millions of people would not have it.
That's true.
Especially those with pre-existing conditions.
Yes.
And that includes women as well as adults.
Mm-hmm.
Look, in 2022, I was diagnosed with bone cancer and received the best medical care that anyone could find.
Oh.
I have health insurance. I'm from the city of Houston, and I had access to quality health care.
Yes, sir.
My dad, conversely, was diagnosed with leukemia, and we did not have any private health insurance or access to quality health care at the time.
Mm.
And the only thing my dad had was some painkillers. And I gave him a big bottle of painkillers, and my dad decided that he would work until the Lord called him home. Oh. And my daddy died at the age of 65. And he worked up until the last day because he had 9 kids to take care of.
Oh.
But he did not have access to quality health care. The absence of health care should not be a death sentence for millions of Americans.
That's true.
Affordable care came aboard. It provided for people who have pre-existing conditions to save lives.
Mm-hmm.
They provided insurance for children and parents up to the age of 26. It saved lives. And quite frankly, the need still exists. So, I am a firm champion of affordable health care, access to quality health care. And when Donald Trump says he has a concept, that means he doesn't have a plan and doesn't have any intention of repealing and replacing the Affordable Care Act with something better. And so I'm vehemently opposed to him getting there and denying health insurance for millions of Americans, especially those who are already facing economic pressures on multiple levels.
Yes.
And then the health care costs, literally, of the absence of access to quality health care can determine whether or not a person lives or dies.
Truly. Oh, there shouldn't be a question there, but he has an agenda.
Yes, he does.
Okay, thank you, sir. Let's see.
Well, I'm going to say he has an agenda, but we better have an agenda as well.
That's true. So, there are just too many important issues to discuss, and we could talk for days. But an issue that the late Sheila Jackson Lee championed was the critical issue of judiciary reform. Yes. So, would you be willing to establish an enforcement code of ethics for the justices? And what measures would be taken to reform the court? What changes could the court make up to reflect the values of the American people rather than those of corporate donors?
Well, those reforms should mirror the reforms that other elected officials and other judges have. Mm-hmm. We can't engage in conflicts of interest.
Right.
We have to identify where our dollars, where our money's campaign donations, for example, where they come from.
Yes.
All of those things must be fully disclosed. Mm-hmm. And we have to attest to that. It doesn't make any sense to me how members of the United States Supreme Court don't have any code of ethics. It doesn't make it's unfathomable.
The highest court in the land at that.
That determines the laws for everybody else.
Yes, sir.
And they have a lifelong tenure. Mm-hmm. How they are not operating with the code of ethics. So yes, I'm a strong proponent that they need to abide by the same rules that other judges, for example, on the local level, and other elected officials have to abide by, and there should be no less. In fact, it should even be more stringent.
Right. So how do you feel about maybe term limits or court expansion?
Well, I'm kind of on term limits. I don't know about that. I'm open to it. I'm more open to term limits than I am by court expansion. The reason why I'm hesitant on court expansion is because what one administration can do today, another administration can reverse tomorrow.
Yes.
So we'll kind of be flip-flopping all over the place. Mm-hmm. I think the strongest thing that we can do, Kimberly, is to have a strong code of ethics.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think and there should be accountability measures put in place and consequences when people violate those code of ethics. Mm-hmm. If you violate those code of ethics, that should end your term as a United States Supreme Court justice. So I believe there needs to be a code of ethics. I think there needs to be some strong accountability measures and consequences, serious consequences, if you violate those code of ethics.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Now, are there any other issues that you are particularly passionate about?
Well, but even sticking with a woman's right to choose, Voting Rights Act.
Yes.
For example, the U.S. Voting Rights Act. I don't think the filibuster rule should stop Congress from implementing these vital pieces of legislation. Okay. And that filibuster rule in the Senate has worked against implementing voting rights bills and other key bills and could prevent us from codifying Roe versus Wade. Oh. So I think that filibuster rule should be seriously considered in terms of not allowing it to stand in the way of protecting people's right to vote and codifying Roe versus Wade. I'm very passionate about affordable housing.
Yes.
Because if we don't have affordable housing, communities and neighborhoods of color will be gentrified. And so we need affordable housing.
Yes.
I'm concerned about making sure that we invest in communities that have been underserved and under-resourced for decades.
Oh, great.
I'm concerned about community and economic revitalization. We need jobs, quality jobs in these communities, in these neighborhoods.
Yes.
Because oftentimes jobs are where people can't get to. There are a lot of people with transportation challenge.
Yes.
So we need community and economic revitalization in communities that have been underserved and where there's been a lack of investment. I'm very passionate about that. And quite frankly, we've talked about healthcare and education is important.
Oh, yes.
You know, that's the key. As my parents said to their kids, education is the key that unlocks the door.
So true.
We really need to invest in our kids at every step along the way. So those are just some of the issues. There are many, many others. Workforce development. We can create opportunities in our cities, for example. But if we don't help our kids, students, with the skill sets,
yes,
to take advantage of those opportunities, then who's going to be taking those jobs?
Yes, so true.
So that's just very important, and really investing a great deal in this next generation, giving them the tools and the access that they need, and talking with them, not down to them.
Oh,
so
that's
those are some
important.
of the things I'm very concerned about.
Okay, well, thank you so much. So how can we support you in your race to represent Texas in Congress? Your ways that they can volunteer, donate, websites?
All of them, educate them. It's important for people to educate themselves.
Okay.
It's important for people to get registered. You can register up until October the 7th. You can't vote if you're not registered. And then it's important for people to vote.
Yes.
And what I would say to people, because people will say, well, my vote doesn't matter. Yes, it does.
I hate to hear that. I really hate to hear people say that.
Yeah, it does. I ran into a young man at the airport a week ago. Nice guy, working very hard. I asked, don't forget to vote. He said, yeah, I hadn't even thought about it.
Oh.
I said, what? You hadn't thought about it? He said, I hadn't even thought about it. I said, are you registered? And he said, no, I hadn't thought about it.
Oh.
So we kept talking, and come to find out, we was from the same neighborhood.
Really?
Same neighborhood, Kimberly.
Oh.
And so I said, I'm on the ballot. He said, no. I said, I'm on the ballot, running for Congress. And he said, well, I'll vote for you. I said, but you can't vote for me because you're not ready.
Exactly. Take one step at a time.
Right. And then I just asked him why. He just said, well, I hadn't thought about it. Nobody talked to me. And so we have to take the time to meet people where they are.
Yes.
And go to them and not wait for them to come to us.
Right.
And we have to do that on our street, next door, in our neighborhoods, in our churches, in the clubs, the lounge, you name it. So for me, I'm going where the people are. Okay. Wherever they hang, I'm going to hang with them.
Okay.
Because you got to go get them.
That's
and
true.
Not wait on them to come to us. And we have to educate, and we have to talk to them, not down to them. And we have to listen to find out why they are not participating. Right. And then respond accordingly. And I will close by saying, let me make a special appeal to our black men.
Yes, sir.
Come on, brothers. Donald Trump, come on now. Why would you vote somebody who talked down to us, denigrate us? The one reason why he's spending so much time on Springtown, Ohio.
Springfield, yes, sir.
Yes, Springfield. It's because those people are from Haiti.
Yes.
Come on now. You know why he's spending so much time on Haiti? These are people that are black, and it's a symbol. It's dog whistles to many of us all kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So let's not ignore the realities. And my appeal to brothers, young and old, let's participate. Let's vote in our self-interest, and let's not buy in to misinformation and all of these other messages. And it's not men versus women or women versus men.
Right.
We are all in the same boat together.
Yes.
So my encouragement, my word would be for people to participate, and let's work together. And when we work together, we stand up together.
That's good information. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for stopping by Green or Woke. We really appreciate it, and it was an honor to have you on today.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate you, and it was an honor to be with you today.
Okay. Well, you have a great day.
Thanks.
Okay. Bye-bye. Yay, it's fall, and that means pumpkin season. Pumpkin spice everything. Did you know that pumpkins are actually a fruit? That's because they have seed, which Mexicans call pepitas. You can roast them and eat them as a tasty snack, and they're good for you. We think of the orange pumpkin carved into jack-o'-lanterns at Halloween, but pumpkins also come in white, green, blue, and even pink. Also, a fun fact, pumpkins are native to the Americas. Halloween originated as a Celtic holiday of Samhain in the British Isles. Since at the time there were no pumpkins in Europe, the original jack-o'-lanterns were made of turnips. Now, here are the health benefits of pumpkins. Like all orange foods, pumpkins contain vitamin A, which is good for the eyes. Pumpkins contain copper and vitamin B2, which are good for the nerves. They contain vitamin C, which is good for the immune system, helps fight free radicals in the body, and may help prevent cancer. They contain vitamin E, which is good for the hair, skin, and nails. They contain iron, which is helpful for people with anemia. Iron helps the body carry oxygen in the blood. They contain potassium, manganese, magnesium, and phosphorus, which are electrolytes that helps you regulate fluid and stay hydrated, especially after a workout. They contain fiber, which helps keep you regular. They contain zinc, which helps the immune system and may be helpful to men. They also contain folic acid. The March of Dimes recommends that women who are pregnant take folic acid to prevent birth defects. Studies have shown that pumpkins and pumpkin seeds may lower blood sugar levels, making them beneficial for people with diabetes. Pumpkins may also contribute to heart health. Pumpkin seed oil may decrease blood pressure while increasing good cholesterol. And lastly, pumpkins and pumpkin seeds may help you get a good night's sleep. During the Trump versus Harris debate, Donald Trump said that Haitian immigrants were eating cats and dogs in Springfield, Ohio. Now, this lie was spread by J.D. Vance even after city officials told him the story was false. This is an old racist trope that has been used against many immigrant groups to make communities fear them. For the same reason, J.D. Vance called Haitian immigrants in Springfield illegals. Haitians are classified as TPS, Temporary Protected Status. This means they are not illegal and are allowed to work. Haitians' history is intertwined with our own. In 1794, France became the first European country to outlaw slavery in all of its colonies. That same year, conflicts broke out in Haiti. French colonists left Haiti for Louisiana, fearing an all-out revolt. Napoleon feared the Spanish in the Dominican Republic and Mexico would try to steal Louisiana. He also needed money to put down the Haitian revolt. So in 1803, Napoleon sold Louisiana to Thomas Jefferson, doubling the size of the United States. To this day, parts of Louisiana share a rich culture with Haiti. Today, we will make Haitian pumpkin soup, called soup jumu, pronounced jumu in Haitian Creole. I assure you, it contains no cats or dogs. When Haiti was a French colony, slaves were forced to prepare soup jumu for the French colonists, but were forbidden to eat it themselves. So, on January the 1st, 1804, when Haiti achieved its independence from France, becoming the first independent Caribbean nation and the first Black republic in the Americas, Haitians ate their independent soup all day. Now, Haitians eat soup jumu all day on New Year's Day and on January the 2nd, known as Ancestry Day, a holiday honoring Haitian revolutionaries. Haitian soup jumu, or pumpkin soup, it's slow food. You start preparing the dish overnight. So here are the ingredients. 2 pounds of organic grass-fed beef cut into 2-inch chunks. Note, you may also use organic chicken, goat, or pork if you prefer. The juice of 1 lime, 10 cups of water, Himalayan kosher or sea salt, and ground black pepper to taste. This is what you'll need for the marinade. 2 scallions, finely chopped. 2 cloves of garlic, smashed. 1 small Cubanelle pepper, thinly sliced. You can also substitute with Italian pepperoncini pepper. You'll need 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 1 to 2 thin sliced habanero or jalapeno peppers. The habanero for more spicy and the jalapeno for less spicy. You'll need 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper. For the soup, you'll need 1 medium white onion, quartered, 1 teaspoon of kosher Himalayan or sea salt, 2 pounds of kabocha, aka Caribbean pumpkin. If you can't find this, you can substitute with the regular pumpkin or butternut squash. You'll need 4 celery stalks cut into 1-inch pieces, 10 green cabbage leaves quartered, 2 large carrots cut into 1-inch chunks, 2 medium cassava or yuca. If you can't find that, you can substitute with turnips, washed and quartered. 2 medium white potatoes, washed and quartered. 4 to 6 cloves. A half a cup of whole wheat spaghetti or caponella, aka angel hair pasta, broken into pieces. 1 whole habanero pepper, pricked twice with a toothpick. The substitute is the jalapeno pepper if you prefer less spicy. And the lime wedges for garnish, that's optional. And this is how we'll do it. First, mix the marinade ingredients together and set aside. Now you want to marinate the beef in the lime juice for 5 minutes. Rinse under cold water and pat dry. And please make sure you follow the food safe practices and disinfect surfaces after washing and handling meat. Now rub the meat with the marinade and let sit covered in the fridge for at least an hour. Now the longer you leave the meat in the marinade, the better it is. You can even marinate it overnight. So now put the beef in a large stock pot and with 3 cups of water and with your quartered onion, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Bring to a simmer over medium heat and cover and cook for 20 minutes. Meanwhile, wash and peel and core the pumpkin or squash and cut into 1-inch chunks. Now, in a stock pot, cover the pumpkin or squash with cold water. Bring it to a boil, then cover and turn down to a simmer. Cook until the pumpkin or squash is tender, and you can easily pierce it with a fork. It's ready. It takes about 10 minutes. Reserve 2 cups of the cooking water. Now puree the pumpkin or squash with the reserved cooking water. Add the pumpkin or squash puree to the beef. Bring it to a boil again. Then add your celery, cabbage, carrots, cassava or turnips, potatoes, and cloves. Cook uncovered until the vegetables are tender, which takes about 20 minutes. Now, add salt and pepper to taste. Then add your pasta and the whole habanero or jalapeno pepper. Cook until the pasta is al dente. That takes about 10 minutes. Let the soup rest for 5 minutes. Now discard the habanero or the jalapeno pepper. Serve with lime wedges on the side. And other options are you can substitute the pasta with homemade dumplings, and also you can garnish with a drizzle of cream and a few leaves of cilantro. Enjoy!
This program was brought to you by K5 Himalayan Whiskey, a smooth, refreshing blend of the finest malt whiskeys and organic grains from the Kingdom of Bhutan. Grab a bottle of K5 and reach the peak of whiskey enjoyment this summer. Learn more at k5whisky.com. That's K5WHISKY.com. Please enjoy K5 responsibly.
Yes, hello, and we're back. This is Kimberly Ryans, your host of Green and Woke, and we have a super interesting guest on the show today. Her name is Jasmine Gil, and Jasmine is with the Hop Caucus, and she's actually the Associate Senior Director. Hello, Jasmine. How are you today?
Hello. Thank you so much for having me, first and foremost.
Oh.
I'm doing great. How about yourself, Kimberly?
Oh, I'm fine. Great to have you on the show. So, let's get down to it. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Jasmine, and your role at the Hip Hop Caucus.
Of course. So, again, Jasmine Gil, born and raised from South Carolina. So, I am a Southern country girl at heart.
Okay.
Yes. And I know you're from Texas.
Yes.
So I feel like we're already bonded on that.
Exactly.
And so, being born and raised in the South, I'm sure you can relate, it has always connected me to the earth, to nature,
Yes.
to everything that composes the environment. And so naturally, I've just always been connected to it. I didn't even realize it until I was much older. And so it's what has grounded me in this journey of being in environmental justice space at the Hip Hop Caucus. Okay. And my role there, my official title is the Associate Senior Director for the Think 100% program. Okay. Which is essentially our environmental justice work at the Hip Hop Caucus. Okay. For those listening who are unaware of what the Hip Hop Caucus does, environmental justice is a huge piece of the work that we do, but it's also at the intersection of 3 other issues. We also do work around voting and democracy, economic justice, and civil rights work. And so all of those platforms, issue areas naturally fold into one another when we talk about what justice means for Black and Brown communities. Okay. So I'm excited to share a little bit more about that work moving forward. But I think I also want to add here, I get a lot of questions about why hip-hop and the name in itself into our work. Hip-hop, as we know, it's more than just a genre. Yes. It's the clothes we wear, it's the way we talk, it's a movement in its own. And hip-hop has always been speaking to the struggles of the people since it came out in South Bronx in the 1970s. where there were issues being spoken of about poverty, racism, gun violence, including environmental justice. And so often, because hip hop artists don't get recognized as climate advocates in their work, that doesn't necessarily mean that it hasn't been a part of a long history of climate activism in hip hop.
Okay.
And especially when we talk about Black and brown communities that bear the brunt of climate change.
Okay, wonderful. I know this is a different take on it. And I was so excited about, to hear about Hip Hop Caucus. What? That is so awesome. Because we need to get the word out there, and that opens up a whole new market for those who probably hadn't even really thought about it. So that's the wonderful part about it. Wow. So, and I hear that the Hip Hop Caucus turned 20. That's awesome.
It did. 20 years, 2 decades. I mean, a lot of organizations dream about meeting that sort of goal and celebrating our 20th anniversary.
Yes.
In September. This has been a beautiful experience, being able to witness not only the work that has come before me, but the work that is still being done. And our president and founder, Reverend Gilwood, in 2004 saw a very unique potential in the way that hip-hop could fold into community, being able to mobilize people around political, social, and environmental causes, which is why, again, going back to my explanation of why hip-hop, it helps bring in more people to the movement, more young people.
Yes.
But it also makes the work more digestible for people, more real for people.
Yes.
They connect with music. One of my co-workers, he always says this, that has always stuck with me, that this work that we do is temporary, but art is forever. And so when you combine the political, social movement pieces with art, it's always going to land and stick with people because of that combination between the two.
Right.
I'm so proud of the 20 years, because in the 20 years, we've been able to mobilize hundreds of thousands of young BIPOC voters across 7 election cycles. We've produced our own in-house first climate album called Home. If people haven't heard it, please go check it out. Okay. Home stands for Heal Our Mother Earth.
Ooh, that is powerful. Oh my God, I felt that.
So powerful. I mean, that over 2 million actions on climate justice alone in 2021. We raised and distributed over $100,000 towards direct relief for families after Hurricane Ida. Mobilized 375,000 Black voters in polls. I mean, I could go on and on and on about the work that the Hip Hop Caucus has done and is still doing to not only show that we love our community through the work that we do and the products that we make, but how we integrate ourselves into the solutions that they see for their communities.
Oh, wow. That is really great. Oh, thank you. Gosh, this is so amazing that you guys are doing this and touching the people that you're touching. And it's so necessary because, oh my God, 7 election cycles. Oh, my goodness. I guess the span of 20 years, it is. And, we really get involved with the political aspect of it too, because we have to. It's like, because they don't want to take it seriously. They see the changes and they want to say that, oh well, that's just part of life, but we can do something about it. So what about tell us about some of your work with climate and environmental justice, because that's what it boils down to. Saving Mother Earth.
Yes, it's all about that. I will say the Think 100% program overall is an award-winning climate justice communications and activism platform.
Okay.
We do that work through 4 divisions. It's through podcasts. With our podcast, The Coolest Show, which amplifies the diverse voices around climate. Music, which I mentioned earlier before, working with some influential artists through that piece. Films, developing documentaries around environmental issues, and then the activism piece is that grassroots work and policy campaigns. And so when it comes to climate and environmental justice issues, we focus on many different issue areas.
Okay.
But to name a few, we are heavily invested in issues like clean air, clean water, urban greening, but most importantly, divesting and stopping the expansion of fossil fuel industry.
Okay.
In particular, in the fossil fuel industry, one thing I want to hone in on today is around our work with petrochemical facilities. For those who are unaware, these people are still learning, and so that's a beautiful one to enter this journey of learning, and some people are more familiar. But petrochemicals derive from oil and natural gas, and they are the building blocks of plastics. The chemicals and the products that come from the petrochemical industry, it goes into and onto our bodies every single day, and we don't even know it. I mean, there's a typical plastics like food packaging, bottles and bags, things that people are familiar with.
Yes.
But a lot of people don't know that this is in personal care items like cosmetics, shampoos, and perfumes. It's in our clothes. It's in building materials such as paint, insulation, medical supplies, fertilizers, pesticides. It's in everything. And so it's going into our soil, it's going into our food. And petrochemicals, the reason why I'm focusing on this today is because it's pretty much the last lifeline for the big oil industry. And the world, communities, voters are saying we want to transition to renewable energy, and the oil and gas industry is looking to use the petrochemical facility to continue to make their money. That industry is rapidly expanding. I mean, in particular to your home state, Kimberly, in Texas and Louisiana alone, the petrochemical industry is planning to, it has been recently, completing more than 100 expansion projects, and it's continuing to take us away from that shift to renewable energy. And currently, because of that dependency, this industry is responsible for 10% of the world's carbon emissions, which is insane.
It is.
Yes, and if they continue to expand at the rate that they're going, they will be responsible for 20%, so double that, of the world's carbon emission by 2030 in the U.S. alone. So this industry is also responsible for places like Louisiana's Cancer Alley. For those who don't know about that area, it's an 85-mile stretch from New Orleans to Baton Rouge. And in between that 85-mile stretch is 170 petrochemical facilities that is constantly polluting that community and causing the highest cancer rates in the nation to a predominantly black community. Hence the reason why they got their name Cancer Alley. So when we talk about the petrochemical industry, right, it's more than just creating plastics and creating products. This is a severe impact to the black and brown community.
It is.
Especially in the South. And this is why, too, we are so ecstatic when recently we heard about the U.S. and current administration putting a shift on decreasing plastic pollution by focusing on the plastic production industry in the upcoming Global Plastics Treaty during COP. And so we drive this issue so much because of the impact that it has not only on our health, but on our environment. And so we're happy to see that shift happen from the top down, so to speak.
Right.
And we just have to keep pushing it, keep putting up the fight, and really working on these facilities side by side within the communities that I've already highlighted earlier.
Right. Oh gosh. See, thank you for bringing this to our attention and letting us know about it. And also here in Houston, in the Cashmere Gardens area, that whole situation with the railroad, the soil is contaminated, and so many people have gotten cancer in that area. And it's been going on so long, and they're finally, trying to pay some attention to it, but there's still factors in place trying to fight against it. They just need to move those people out of there if they want to move, but clean it up as well, because they've lost people, and people don't like to be uprooted, of course, but if it's dangerous and that's what's causing the problem, I would suggest to move out of there, because that's really, we're doing all of this to save the next generations, because like you say, if you let it go on and not say anything, it's just going to get worse and worse, because they're sure not going to do anything to try to stop it.
And can I say too, I do understand the perspective of community members not wanting to leave their homes.
Yeah.
We work so often with people that live in Cancer Alley, and home is so much deeper than your address.
Exactly.
It's your community. It's where you grew up. It's where you learned all your life lessons. It's where you envision raising your children. It's where you envision having your career.
Right.
It's it's so much deeper than I think what a lot of facilities or developers or people that cause us pollution think it is. They think sometimes that either you could just be paid away to go, or another huge thing that we see in these facilities that they believe that black and brown communities are the path of least resistance. And so they believe that they can just bulldoze your home. They can just make you move.
Yeah, gentrification. They go into these neighborhoods and just,
And so we see groups all the time, like Ross St. James, led by Miss Sherry Levine, and her daughters, Shamara and Chanel, come together to say, no, you're not going to take our home. We're going to fight. And so what the Hip Hop Caucus does is, for folks who have had to move or for folks who want to stay, no matter which part you're in, regardless, you should have never been placed in that situation from the beginning.
Exactly.
And so that's where our work really stands at, is making sure that we're at the root alongside these partners, pushing for the change that they want to see, so that we can protect their homes for now, so they can keep their homes, or for the future, as you said so well earlier, Kimberly, because it is about that, right? These groups, these families, these community members, they're fighting not only for themselves and their health and their current state, they're fighting for their children's children, so they're able to experience the home that they had when they were growing up.
Right. So, yeah, it's a really important issue. And that's why it's important to vote, because you need to get the people in there that's going to make the change you want to see. So, with this being 20 years, do you all have any special events planned to start the 20th year off?
Yes, we've already started this past month. In September, we hosted a full day of events. We had a town hall, a reception to celebrate our anniversary. We also have our Respect My Vote, which is an award-winning voting and democracy-based campaign that is doing a bunch of Get Out the Vote activation right now. We've had performances at Howard University, collaborating with folks on campus to, be visible on the campus, talk about the history of the caucus. And we return to Howard every single year for that reason, to celebrate our 20th anniversary. But moving forward with our Get Out the Vote mobilization this year, we're really driving exactly what you said, Kimberly, which is the importance of people getting to the polls, making sure their voices are being heard. And so a lot of our 20th is around just continuing to do the work that we've been doing over the years, but of course also celebrating where we've come from and the hard work that's been done over the past 2 decades.
That's just great. That's great. So how can people learn more about the Hip Hop Caucus, Jasmine? I mean, give us your social media handles, your websites. How can they reach you guys?
All the same across the board. For Hip Hop Caucus, you can follow us, go to our website at hiphopcaucus.org. And you can also follow us on social media at Hip Hop Caucus on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the things. We are there. But I think also a good way to get involved into our work and to understand the core, the environmental justice fight, how it ties into the importance of your vote and the work of building with community. I strongly recommend that people watch we actually had a premiere in New York for New York Climate Week around our new film called Underwater Projects. So Underwater Projects is narrated by Wanda Sykes, and it is a powerful story about the community of Norfolk, Virginia, and environmental justice issues that they are dealing with and how they are coming together as a community to fight and to get that justice that they deserve.
Oh, great.
And so now everyone can watch this film. You can be a host of your own community screening. So whether you want to do it at your house, your bestie's house, at church, if you want to book a venue, it doesn't matter. If you want to see this film, if you want to witness this story and be able to share out that message, you can become a host by texting screening to 79591. And so that is screening with an ING at the end, if you can't tell my southern accent.
Okay.
At 79591, and we'll take you through the process of becoming a host. It's a very easy process. We help you from step one to the day that you host the screening to be able to hold that event for your community. But if you're looking for a way to get involved, to learn more about work, that is a really, really good way to do it.
That is fantastic. Okay, well, that's wonderful. We'll definitely share that on our social media pages as well, because that's a wonderful idea. Sometimes people want to be able to do something to make a difference, but they don't have the tools, to put out there and make a difference because they just don't know where to get started. So that would be a great, great resource. Thank you so much, Jasmine. I'm so happy we had you on the show today. We've learned so much more about the Hip Hop Caucus, and you're definitely a friend of the show now. So anytime you want to come back and share some more news with us, because you have good news, girl. You are carrying the good news. You are welcome to come back and chat with us, okay?
Thank you so much for having me, to the Green and Woke family, staff, and team, and to you too, Kimberly, for inviting me and having, me be able to share about the Hip Hop Caucus. I hope you've taken something away from this conversation, and I look forward to coming back anytime that you want to have me. As I tell people all the time about the Hip Hop Caucus, once we get introduced and we work together, you're stuck with it.
Okay. We're family now.
Thank you so much again for having me.
Okay, and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Most Def, Quali, Pharaoh, Big L, Early M, Cool G Rap, and even Kid Pie.
Rawkus Records.
Bring Rawkus back. Bring Rawkus back. Bring Rawkus back. It's time we bring
Rawkus meant death to the shiny suit era. Made major label reps sweat and try to do better. It started out with funding from James Murdoch, the son of Rupert. But I ain't got stocks and Fox. The mainstream's underground, a scenic view from that sweet spot that lived right between the two. When Jigga jumped on just to get by, Leo Cohen told him, you must have been high. Def Jam sent a cease and desist, and within weeks that song didn't even exist. But his producer believed he needed to spit, had some gas on him, but Rawkus Records passed on him. Was he unpolished or was that a cop-out? Was he in college or was he a dropout? Either way, he would lead the way to bridge the gap, and music would not be the same after that.
Bring Rawkus back. Bring Rawkus back. Bring Rawkus back. Bring Rawkus back.
Following these events, there ceased to be a difference between mainstream and underground rap. It was all one and the same. The influence of MTV and radio waned, and even casual fans began turning to the internet. Seizing this opportunity, Rawkus signed a new wave of MCs to release their music digitally, and I'm proud to forever be part of that history. Rawkus Records.
It ain't over, let's bring it back to the essence.
This world selling dreams, so a fellow leaned the way of the Elohim of Elohim. Cerebellum blown it was Helen Queen's Phantom of the Opera. It was not the Cinderella theme. Read Deuteronomy and he got hella king. Got the DNA of King David dwelling in my jeans. First Maccabees 348, Job 24 showed him how they covered up his face. Prophecy wrote the pillars of smoke. Now it's volcanoes, sinkholes, rivers and roads. Sun going black in the sackcloth. We about to reign forever. His we sons of the king of terror. Versus the second judges never could have said it better. Bodies of water, blood red with the deadliest weather. Old test, new test, Enoch and Apocrypha. Jubilee, Jasher, books that wasn't popular. Wisdom of Solomon, time to get the knowledge in. Right in the city where these blowing hollows in.
Yes, hello, and we're back. We have an amazing guest with us tonight, guys. We have Mike Scholar, Pizon. That's his stage name. Hi, Mike. Pizon.
Hi.
So,
how are you?
I'm fine. I'll let you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself. You have a really interesting background, though. Let me add this in here. In fact, you are a really busy guy because you're an attorney. Oh, my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And you were a former Democratic nominee for the New York City Council. You also have a podcast of your own, and it's Nuance with Timid, and he's your co-host. Is that it? Jay Carter?
Yes, correct. Nuance with Mike Scala and Jay Carter, also known as Timid.
Okay, great. Yeah, he's been on the show. He's a friend of the show. So now we're meeting you. That's wonderful. Okay. So, how did all of this come about? And how did you get into law, music, and hosting? I mean, you have a lot going on. You're a busy guy.
Right. You introduced me as Mike Scala, also known as Pizon. The funny thing is that people knew me as Pizon probably before they knew me as Mike.
Right.
I started out in music. I came up in the New York City hip hop scene.
Oh,
and that's what I was doing. I was signed to Rawkus Records in 2007. That's the label that gave me Mos Def and Talib Kweli, Farrah Munch, Big L.
Wow.
So, that's how I got my start in hip hop.
Okay.
And I actually started hosting with Timid. Timid and I go way back. We performed together since probably 2002. I think we did our first live show together. So we've been making music together for a very long time.
Very long time.
And we started hosting a radio show and had discussions on current events. Of course, it was a hip-hop show, but we would talk about what was going on in the country and in the world kind of through a hip-hop lens.
Right,
and
right.
Get people to sign up to vote was a big thing. When we would go out and do shows at colleges, we would try to get students to sign up to vote and give speeches about the importance of voting. So we kind of found ourselves doing hip-hop, but also kind of dabbling in politics a little bit and current issues. And I think the fact that the music that we were doing was what people describe as conscious hip-hop maybe kind of led us in that direction. So we wanted to be present in these discussions as they were happening around us.
Yes, it all goes together. Yeah, it does go together.
Exactly. We found that overlap. There was a big overlap there. And I started getting interested in public policy and thought about maybe running for office myself. So I went to law school. It was funny. 2008, I think it was New Year's Eve 2008, we were doing a show in Los Angeles. It was called New Year's Nation. It was like the hottest show in LA at the time. Dr. Dre was there and the crowd watching us. I mean, it was like everyone in LA was basically out there that night because it was the first show that Travis Barker and DJ AM did together since they were in a plane crash earlier that year. So everyone wanted to come see them perform, and we were on that bill performing. So I remember backstage that night talking about I'm taking the LSAT, I'm going to law school, and everyone was like, cool, but it was kind of funny, right? Like kind of like at the crossroads here.
Exactly.
Path. And that always stuck with me because it was a big show, it was a big event. It wasn't like the music wasn't working, right? Like we were doing some really big things with music. But I took interest in it, developed a deep interest in policy and getting involved with political issues. So I thought going to law school, becoming an attorney, would be a good way to help people out who needed that help, but also to give me credibility in the political arena. Because I didn't want people to think, oh, who's this rapper trying to run for office? Is this just a gimmick to sell his good CD or whatever?
That's a huge gimmick.
Yeah, so I went to law school, and actually, funny story, my first year of law school, I ran for class delegate, to see who was going to lead the class, right? And I didn't think I was really going to win because my opponent was the son of a current New York City council member at the time. And he was the guy in the class, right? From the day, everyone was swarming around him, like so prestigious. They all knew his father. Honestly, I didn't even really know about the New York City Council at the time. I was focused more on the Congress and more national issues. But I saw how prestigious he was, and I kind of felt a little out of place initially in law school because it seemed like all my classmates came from that background. Their parents were lawyers, or they were more upper class than me, and they kind of came from a different world. And I felt like this hip hop guy coming from, I guess we would call it inner city or whatever. It seemed a little bit of a disconnect. So I didn't know if they would accept me as I'm going to run for leader of the class. Are they really going to vote for me? I didn't know, but I gave my speech. I gave it my best shot, and I got a call that I won. Apparently, it was a landslide win. And then I found out that a lot of people in the class were into music too, and they really weren't so different from me. I mean, some of them were drummers, or they played bass, they were in bands, they dabbled in music themselves. So it worked out. I think they looked up to me. They thought it was kind of cool. They came from a different background.
Right.
And, that gave me the confidence to go forward. I was like, all right, people will take me seriously. They will listen to what I have to say.
Right.
And it kind of initially gave me this idea that politics may be even less political than music in some ways. It sounds weird to say that. In music, it, as you know, probably it's so political, right? You have to make connections and network constantly just to try to get an opportunity. And I felt like I was stepping into the political arena and didn't know anyone really, but people just heard what I had to say, and they actually took me seriously just on the merits, just at face value. Right? This is what he's talking about. We like him. We can give him a shot. And I'd never experienced that in music. With music, it was always about who you knew more than what you knew. So that was really encouraging to me. I was like, all right, I can really do this. Like you said, I ended up years later, becoming a Democratic nominee for the New York City Council and developing a name for myself in South Queens in particular, politically. And so now people know me as Mike Scholar, the attorney and the political figure, and Pizon, the MC. I never stopped rapping, but I did take a break with releasing music for a while because I was just too busy with law and politics, and I knew I couldn't promote it. I couldn't devote myself to promoting music while I was on a campaign trail or whatever. So now, for the first time in a while, I really have the opportunity to put out more music and kind of bring this all together. That was always my intention, right? To bring this all full circle. I never wanted to be seen as that former rapper. He used to do music. No, I'm an MC. That's what I do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I kind of want to break the mold a little bit and hopefully inspire people to think outside the box. You don't have to, put all your eggs in one basket or take a traditional route. You could do what interests you and make it all work. That's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, what a fantastic story. And it's very inspirational. Wow. And then by you having that background, that made you more, accessible to the people, and, you could relate to the people. Some people are just so into their titles that they forget about the people that they're supposed to be helping. So, gosh, that is great. Well, thank you for giving back in that way. That is amazing. Absolutely. That's a great story. So, as far as the music, though, who were some of your musical influences?
I would say Nas is a big one for me. I really fell in love with lyrical hip-hop. That's really what got me into it. It was really the poetry aspect of it. I was like, wow, this is poetry over music. And I used to take a dollar van to school because my school was kind of far away from where I lived, and it was hard to get there. We took a dollar van, and we would play hip-hop in the van going back and forth from school every day. So it was a few hours every day of playing hip-hop on the commute. And back then, you would hear artists like Nas on the radio in New York, early Jay-Z. Even some of those Rawkus artists I mentioned, Mos Def came up around that time. You saw, OC, Big L, early Big L stuff before he passed away. So it was that lyricism. And what I really loved was that lane of hip-hop that seemed to exist in the middle between commercial and underground. At the time, there was a big distinction. You either had to be a mainstream person or an underground person. But there was that lane that was kind of in that sweet spot where you had lyricism, you had artists that were delivering lyrically, but they were still musical. They still appealed to a wide audience. So it wasn't too obscure, it wasn't too backpacker, like they would say. It was palatable to the masses.
Right. I mean, that was a beautiful time. That was a beautiful time of hip hop. It really was.
And that's really what I fell in love with. I remember, I guess it was 96, Nas, If I Ruled the World with Lauryn Hill was all over the radio.
Oh,
I'm like, wow, this is a great song.
You're taking me back. You're taking me back.
Yeah, it's very lyrical, and that's what I love. I was like, wow, if you can combine the two, that's not easy to do. But that seems to be where it was at. Because I always strive for that. Right? I want to be musically acceptable, but also lyrical. I want to maintain integrity as an MC.
Oh, awesome. That's great. And that's what we're missing today. I really do feel that way. Yeah. That was a great time of hip hop. So let me ask you this. Let me interject this. Now, we're called Green and Woke. So can I ask some of your green beliefs? Like, what do you do to feel like you're doing something to save the planet?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the environment is probably our most important long-term issue because if we don't have an environment, we don't have a planet.
Exactly.
All the things we're talking about won't even matter, right?
Right.
It's like, to make the music analogy, it's like our stage, right? We need that for all the other things to exist. We have a conversation like on the issue. So that's very important. And I think that we're seeing the younger generation start to pay attention to that more than the older generation did. That's a good thing. That's encouraging.
It is.
One area I think that I saw that was locally here in South Queens. We live by the water here, and I'm right by Jamaica Bay, and we would see a lot of pollution, right? We would see people leave things behind. Sometimes I think they would throw, candy wrappers, whatever it was, into the bay, maybe over the bridge or whatever, and it would wash up on the beach. We would also see, and this has been an issue for years around here, you would see religious rituals of certain sects, of certain religions. They would do rituals at the bay, and they would leave things behind, like plastic statues, which obviously are not biodegradable, and things like that.
Okay.
So that became a contentious issue because some people will bring up freedom of religion, right? They say, well, they have a First Amendment right to practice their religion. Yes, but there is no right to pollute. And
clean up after yourselves like that. Common decency, right?
Exactly. So there was that tension there. And when you would talk to people, the Park Service or whomever, they would say, yeah, we were just kind of hesitant to get involved because they don't want pushback over First Amendment concerns or whatever. Right. So what I tried to do is bring people together, right? We had some conversations, a few of them were even on Zoom so people could interact with it. But we brought in young people who were involved with the religion, right? And there are a few different sects of a few different religions involved. A lot of this is coming from the Hindu religion, and it's not all people who are Hindu, but certain sects of it were involved in this. But we brought in young people from the religion who said it's actually part of the religion to respect Mother Earth. And so while some of the elders in the religion might think that they're practicing the religion by doing these rituals, they're actually violating the religion by littering. And so you could do it both ways. You could practice your religion without littering, without damaging the earth. Okay. And so there are things you could do. For example, instead of bringing a plastic statue, which isn't biodegradable, you can have materials which are. Or you can do your ceremony, but then take your things back, not leave anything behind. Right. So I think we're starting to see a generational shift in that the young people are trying to instill in the elders, hey, wait a minute, you have to leave us on Earth behind because, like we said, if the environment goes, then we have nothing. Our kids and our grandchildren won't even have a world to live and thrive in. Right. So that was one of the areas where I tried to get involved and, do it in a delicate way because, you don't want to tell people they can't practice their religion, but you have to kind of just let them know that this needs to be done in an environmentally conscious way. And I think one of the ways you can do that is bring in people from the religion, especially if they're able to make the point that, hey, listen, it's actually against the religion to pollute, so let's make sure that we're doing this correctly.
Oh, great. That is a great point. Thank you for sharing that. Gosh, that's really great that they were able to make a difference. And these young people are getting so involved, and I love it. I mean, they are very conscious. They're aware of what's going on. And if you will, they're woke. So they're very woke, and they see, and woke is a good thing. Just be aware of what's going on around you. Some people have tried to demonize wokeism. Absolutely. But that's wonderful because I have a 20-year-old and she's very conscious about a lot of things. And I'm so happy to see it. I guess these colleges are just bringing people together and bringing up these issues that are important to everyone. That's wonderful. Okay, so Pizon, you just dropped a new single, a collaboration. Can you tell us about it?
Yes. So we have released 2 singles so far from the latest project. The first one was called Bring Rawkus Back, featuring Cool G Rap, legendary Cool G Rap. Okay. And that one was really an ode to Rawkus Records and what it meant to hip-hop. I told the story about the label on my verse, and then Cool G Rap delivered a verse where he's basically showing you Rawkus. That's kind of how I describe it. I tell you the story of Rawkus, and then he shows you what it was, because he was an original Rawkus artist himself, and one of the greatest to ever do it. Yeah. So that one did very, very well, and that set up our most recent single called Handcuffs, featuring Timid, who we mentioned earlier, who's been on your show as well, and Walter Kelly. Walter Kelly actually is a writer. He was on the Netflix show Big Mouth, and then there was a spin-off called Human Resources. So he was one of the writers on that, and he delivers a spoken word piece on that. So Handcuffs is about police misconduct and institutional racism. And I come on, and I play the crooked officer, and the idea is I'm kind of rapping almost like a gangster rapper. Like it's boastful, it's arrogant, it's in your face, it's aggressive, right? It's kind of like that aggressive style of hip-hop, but from the perspective of a crooked officer. What would that sound like, right? It's kind of what I tried to deliver. And then he had Timid come on speaking as a black man in America, giving his experience dealing with being profiled and so forth. And Walter Kelly was his spoken word, kind of tied it together. He tied the issue of police misconduct to institutional racism broadly. And he described racism as a metaphor between cops and so-called robbers. He talked about a kid on a playground playing cops and robbers, and how, basically it's a fun schoolhouse game for him now, but this is going to follow him around for the rest of his life. And he talks about what that's like being black in America. So I think it came together well. I think it's a good piece of art, and there's a video for it on YouTube right now, so pretty well. Okay, great. Yes, I've heard that, and it's brilliant. I was blown away. I'm like, whoa, this is hot. This is hot. So wonderful. We'll probably play it on the show. We're going to play 2 of your pieces. So. Oh, great. Yeah. Yeah. So, and then we also have another single, by the way, dropping called Read Between the Lines, and that one I don't want to spoil it, right? But it's very lyrical, and the idea is, I guess this relates to politics, the idea is only believe half of what you hear. So you listen to a story, and then at the end of it, you're going to be like, wow. And you have to go back and listen to it again.
Oh, really? Okay, well, you choose the two you want us to play because you have some good stuff out there. So, okay, yeah. So, do you have any other projects or events coming up this fall or in the near future?
Yeah, well, we're going to continue releasing some music. You know, I recorded an album, and I was ready to put it out, but then I was doing some research on music marketing in the year 2024, and the recommendation is that you don't just put out an album right now, you know, unless you're Beyonce or somebody, but if you're an artist trying to build up an audience, it's best to do single after single leading up to an album, so you can kind of gain momentum with each single.
Okay.
So we've been dropping the singles that way. We've got a couple more coming out, and then we are putting out the album October 25th, I believe it's coming out. And so the album is called Mike Scholar. Obviously, that's my name, but it's also my background, right? A microphone scholar, literally. So it's kind of funny that my name fits that theme so well. And it's interesting, right? Because it's political rap, but not in your typical way, right? It's not just rapping about political topics. It's actually coming from the experiences of someone who has been in politics, right? So I'm giving you a little bit of that world, what I've been through in that world. So I think it's pretty cool.
Oh, that is good. That's good. Okay, I can't wait to hear that one. So, wow, how can we learn more about you? How can they buy your music, your website, social media handles?
Yeah, so on Spotify, on Pizon, Pizon.
Okay.
And TikTok, I post a lot of content, some behind-the-scenes stuff as well as Rapping Lawyer on TikTok. My Instagram is Scala Vision, SCALA Vision, VISION.
Okay, wonderful. Well, this has been a fantastic interview, and I heard you drop a few gems about the music industry as well, not just releasing and that's another thing that we have indie artists on here, and we have artists that are well established, like yourself. You've been around for so long, and you have gems that you can share with people that are just starting, and that's what the beautiful part is, because our listeners can hear some behind the scenes in the music industry as well. So thank you for dropping that gem as well. So, oh my God, this has been a great interview. We can't wait to hear your music, and just thank you for stopping by and talking to us. And you're a friend of the show too now. So anytime you want to come back with new projects or just want to tell us about what else is going on in your political life or your musical life, you have so much going on, so we'll keep up with you and see what's going on with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Kimberly. It was my pleasure to be here.
Okay, and you have a great day.
You too.
Okay, bye-bye. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you for joining us. Tune in next month for an all-new episode of Green and Woke. And remember to keep it simple, keep it constant, keep it green, and together we can build a better planet.
Watch how I shine, homie, with the on me. Above the law, no cameras in my ride, homie. Yeah, Ferguson rap flow. In daylight, paid right, servicemen that know we untouchable. We might touch a few, duck a few beers, and why not? This is how we live in the hot spot. I got a suburban crib and it's not locked. Top-notch ribs in the crock pot. No time for cooking, looking for the rabbi. I mean a rasta. I mean any dude with dark skin will do. I ain't kidding you. Lock 'em 3 years minimal. 5 max and I my swimming pool. I ain't a criminal. I work for a living. You leeching off the system, fool. Drug test them all. Drug test them all. That's right. I know what's best for y'all. Simple and plain. If you ain't rich, you're lazy. Hashtag, I'm just saying. I'm a professional. Yeah. Now tell me which dog next to fall, huh?
Home of the free, home of the brave, home of back trees and home of the slaves. Yes sir, no sir, screw you, I have rights. Respectful or ignorant, doesn't matter, they still might put a knee in my back for walking while being black or talking back. Even truth, law, and facts. To catch 22, might not make it to 22. There's 22 of them, they want to give me 22 years. But what did I do? Fit a description. Foot the bill for budgets in a broken system. Officer, please just put the down. My hands are up and see, my head is bowed. Are you really just going to in public, in front of that child in this large crowd? I'm not resistant, please, it's just anatomy. Bones don't bend that way, so why are you mad at me? I have no... You have not been threatened. I was on my way to school, but now I've missed my lesson. This the third time this week. Look, across the street, my man's also getting harassed as we speak. Why is it that freedom doesn't apply to me? Isn't a land of civil liberties what we strive to be? I'm tired of being on my knees. I've twice said please, and even with video evidence, you still don't believe. You call me defiant, cause I'm not reliant on Officer Friendly. It's because we know he's lying. You assume I'm living off the system, getting assistance and benefits that are unfairly given. Okay, listen, I've got one question to ask. Since I'm getting a pass and racism and discrimination is a thing of the past, and what that cop did wasn't an unprovoked attack. If given the chance, would you like to be black?
At the sound of the recess bell, black boy bobbed and weaved his way through the halls, racing to the playground to play cops and robbers. The 4-foot cops tried to catch Black Boy and place him in the jailhouse behind the swing set. The Black Boy dipped and dodged his way to the jungle gym. Black Boy loves his schoolhouse game. It's not after long until Black Boy realized that being a black boy in America is a lot like the game of cops and robbers. Society, the robbers, robbing Black Boy of his childhood innocence. Like cops, they cuff his hands into negative stereotypes, imprison him into the confines of suspicion, and sentence Black Boy to a lifetime of being perceived as threatening. Why is Black Boy perceived as threatening? The melanin in his skin may be medicine. Black Boy is pulled over for driving while black. He is stopped and frisked for walking while black. He is pinned down to the ground for breathing while black. Black Boy is stopped and followed for shopping while black.